David McCullough said that if everyone is special, then no one is special. If everyone gets a trophy, they become meaningless. If you don't understand that one, here's another one. Participation trophies are the sole herpes of a generation, from Christopher Titus. So today I want to be talking to you about why we shouldn't be giving out participation trophies in youth events. So growing up, I was never a fan of participation trophies. In the leagues that I played in, they always had like one big trophy for the winners and all the individual ones, and then they had like the small dinky medals for the losers, which is your participation trophy. And you know, the coach tried to give you a better looking participation trophy at the end of the year at the last pizza party or whatever. So what my parents did was they just took those and tossed them in the trash, which was really good for me. So I think that this is applicable to everyone in the room, because we don't get participation trophies for showing up at our job, like just for clocking in. We get recognized when we do something that like we're going above and beyond for, not for just doing the bare minimum. And that's because that these are the things that are expected of us. So the three things that I want to talk about are how participation trophies, like the positive reinforcement that comes with them is actually negative, how they lower the level of competition, and the actual importance in winning. So again, going back to like my leagues and stuff, in my little league for world, like we won the World Series, and we're all young kids, we're just trying to celebrate with the trophy, take pictures and stuff. But before we had to do all that, we had to sit through the ceremony for all the losers to get up and go get their participation trophies. And like in 2010, the Lakers won the Larry O'Brien trophy. I never saw David Stern give the Celtics a participation trophy for losing to the Lakers. So I was like really confused when they gave out, you know, the small trophies for the other kids, because they didn't do anything, they just lost. Like, why are they getting something that they don't deserve? So, and then I figured out later that that's a technique for positive reinforcement. So what is positive reinforcement? Positive reinforcement is the act of emphasizing a specific behavior with some type of reward, in hopes that that behavior is going to recur again. So like the most common example we see is when we like train our dogs. So if you tell the dog to sit, you give the dog a command, and if it does it, you give it a treat. If they don't sit or they do it your command, you don't give them a treat, plain and simple. So why are we as a society practicing giving out participation trophies if they're not doing what is required of them? Like, it's not going to make them want to work harder. So it doesn't make sense for us to give them something that they don't really deserve. The next point I want to talk about is how wow, I really just lost my whole train of thought. I'm just gonna skip to the third thing because I forgot the second thing. So what's the actual importance in losing? I think that it's important for us to lose sometimes, because you don't really learn anything by winning all the time. If you keep winning, you're just gonna continue to do the same exact habits that got you there, and sometimes that's not enough to get you over the hump. So I think that losing shows us our true character. Are we gonna fold, and are we gonna like kind of just be okay with losing, or are we gonna rise above and play to the level of competition against the people that we're going against? I was watching The Shop, LeBron's TV show, and he said that losing the 2011 finals to the Mavericks was actually his greatest achievement rather than his greatest loss, because it made him want to work harder. He thought that because he had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, that he was just gonna skate to the finals. So he kind of just went through the motions during the finals, and they ended up losing. And he even said himself, I didn't show up, I didn't come to play, I didn't really do all I could. And had he gotten like a participation trophy for that, like just for losing, I don't think that he would be where he is today, as far as he's got 3 or 4 rings now. He is one of the greatest players of all time. And I don't think that, so I don't think that we should be practicing giving out participation trophies as a society, because they also lower the level of competition. which is my second point that I just remembered. I think that when we do that, okay, so never mind, skip all that. I have a story to tell about lowering level of competition. In my junior year of high school, my football team won like 5 games, and we like kind of just went through the motions all season, and then we ended up getting the playoffs as a wild card. So everybody was really excited. That was our participation trophy. Like, we got something that we didn't really deserve. So we're going into the playoffs, and we didn't prepare like we were going into the playoffs. We just went through the motions again, like during the season. So needless to say, we lost in the first round and got blown out in the first game. So that is why it lowers level of competition, because we thought we were just going to skate through just by getting in. We thought that was the big thing for us, was just to get in, and then we could do the same things that we were doing, which isn't what gets you there. It's hard work and dedication and proving that you deserve to be there, not just getting in just because you showed up. So hopefully you're on board with me now. I know this wasn't the best speech ever because I got lost, but hopefully you're on board with me with not giving out participation trophies. Thank you.
Kayla, you here?
Yeah.
Some words.
I really liked your attention device. It really intrigued me in the beginning, and it led right into your purpose statement. You had a really good preview. All your points are clear about what you're going to be talking about. And all your supporting details are really good. You had a lot of examples that supported it, so we knew exactly what you were talking about. And I like the content of it. Did pause for a little bit, but that's okay. Once you remember everything, you jumped back in strong. I liked your conclusion. I think it really tied everything together. It was pretty good.
Okay. The quote or two that you have at the beginning as attention device is fine. I do think, I didn't know who the first person was that you were quoting. I do know who Christopher Titus is. You should maybe tell us why it is we ought to be listening to these perspectives, or what the perspective represents. They are opinions, and everybody is entitled to their opinion, but is the opinion valuable or useful to us? And what it's valuable for you is that it kind of conceptualizes your point of view, but is it offered, is it something that substantiates the point of view? That I think is a little bit more problematic. There's a solid preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. You did, like you said, get a little bit lost because you got that middle point out of whack, but you seem to be in good shape up through that part of the speech. And in the first section, you're very dependent on these kind of metaphorical comparisons that you're doing. The idea like you're training a dog, and why would you give the dog the treat if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing? Well, if the kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they just weren't as good as the other kids. That's the idea that's going on here. And I think that the criticism that you have is a good one. I think that there is a value to what you're talking about, but I think sometimes that there's a little bit of sweeping generalization on some of these points. Just taking the professional teams as an example, forget the kids, because I don't know what went involved in your little league thing and that how many kids were participating. I'm just thinking the teams that don't win the Super Bowl, or the teams that don't win the World Series, or the teams that don't win the NBA championship, well, they did win a division, they did win a conference. Should they not get acknowledgement for that kind of thing because they didn't win the championship? That means they're losers. And I think you'd find people be hard pressed to say, well, there wasn't some accomplishment there. The question is, what accomplishments are we awarding? You make it sound like anybody who gets a silver medal at the Olympics should toss it. And I don't really think that that's the point that you're trying to make, because I'm sure that those people are still striving to do well. The fact that they didn't get the gold, seems to suggest that they're, a little too self-critical. If they, I can't take pride in what I did accomplish because there was somebody better than me, or somebody who worked out and got an achievement better than me. I think you need to be a little bit careful about the sweeping nature of your statements. That said, I do think you have a valid point that suggests that we do send mixed messages when we tell kids that they are worthwhile when they haven't done anything or taken any action that would be deserving of that kind of acknowledgement. And I like the example that you use of your own football team, managing to get into the playoffs despite the fact that you weren't very good, and thinking that, well, that's enough and we've accomplished that. The question is, though, would you have felt better if you had won even though you weren't very good? See, that's a weird one too. Suppose you just lucked into, which does happen. People happen to be victorious, and you say, well, yeah, but were you as good as the other people were in that particular situation? That's one of those things where you're going, I think you've got a good issue here. I think there's an underdeveloped amount of information on this subject. There's a good opinion. There's an explanation about why you hold that opinion. I'm just looking for some extra substance other than just the kind of hypothetical examples and the personal examples to support your idea. And you got to be careful about, like I said, overgeneralizing things, because I think that is a little bit problematic. All right. Delivery stuff, by the way, is solid. So we'll give you that. Let me give you a participation trophy for your delivery. All right, thank you.